Hey guys, it's California Max, getting ready to beat Texas Max. I'm going to be on a plane here in an hour, but I decided to shoot a real quick video before I head back to Texas. I was planning to make a bunch of videos while I was here in California. I told myself I'd make one every day, and then I barely made any because I wanted to spend time with my family. I came home last night early to make a video, and then fell asleep after the Georgia Tech game, and which was like, I guess it was 10 o'clock, but I fell asleep early. All right. So I just didn't feel like working, but I got up this morning and felt like working a little bit. So let's talk about, am I warning people? I'm going to respond to a viewer, a subscriber, I don't know, subscriber, but a commenter's question as soon as my slides come up. Am I warning people about ULTY? Max responds to a viewer's comment. Why in the hell can I not do this? I got this question from one of my favorite frequent commenters, R. Martinez. I really like this guy. I think it's a guy. I don't think that he likes the high yield ETFs quite as much as I do, but I always appreciate his input. He said, "Hey, Max, I hope you're warning everybody about ULTY. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone." Well, happy Thanksgiving to you. I appreciate the comment. So yes, here's my warning about ULTY. This goes for every high yield ETF. So this goes for every ETF that pays more than 10% and sells covered calls. Okay. But it especially applies to ULTY, because the one thing we know is the more yield any of these covered call ETFs have, the more risk you're taking. So yes, ULTY does deserve some warnings. It is not for everybody. All right. So here's some general things. And this goes for all of them, but especially for ULTY. Okay. Don't touch if you have a job that supports your family's needs. Don't mess with ULTY if you don't need income. They're kind of the same thing. We'll talk some more about that in a second. Don't own these if you don't understand how they work, meaning how selling options works and why you would want to sell options and why people are incentivized to do that. If you don't understand that, watch my channel and maybe you can pick up on it. But it's important to understand what you're investing in and why you're doing it. All right. The other thing is, don't have more than 20% of these types of ETFs in your portfolio. Now we're going to get in the retirement simulator, and I'm going to show you why in a second. All right. So if you don't need income. So one thing about covered call ETFs that's important to understand is that they generally do not perform as well as buying and holding stocks for the long term. Over the short run, some covered call ETFs can outperform the stock market. Generally, over the long run, they underperform. And we're talking total return. They underperform on total return. Total return is all that counts, right? Okay. That's total return is how you compound your money. Compounding is what did Warren Buffett say, or Charlie Munger was the eighth wonder of the world or something, but they're right. Okay. Or I agree with them. So covered call ETFs generally have less total return than growth investing. So if you have a job and you don't need income, why in the hell would you take less total return as a trade-off for income that you don't need? Here's my advice, and this especially goes if you're younger. Let your assets accumulate until you have six figures or more. Maybe you're in your 50s and maybe you've saved $500,000 in your 401k. Okay, well, now we can talk about covered call funds. If you want to take early retirement, you want to maybe have your wife take retirement and maybe just go down from 2 jobs to 1 job, covered call funds can help you swing that. It's a great use case for it. Okay, so here's an important thing to understand, and I think this is a big misconception about covered call funds specifically. A lot of people just don't understand the most basic thing about how options work. That's fine. They're complicated and they're boring. It's just math. But there's other types of income funds that don't have anything to do with options that are easier to understand, like government bond funds, like real estate investment trust. You guys know, and if you don't know, in a real estate investment trust, a company will put together a pool of real estate assets, like a bunch of, say, shopping malls. Then they'll make a real estate investment trust, and you can invest in the shopping malls, and the trust pays you the income from the rent. Easy to understand. Those make great investments also. Covered call funds aren't the only show in town. So here's another thing that's important to understand about option traders. they don't, an income option trader, a true income option trader, like what Jay is, what I am, what I strive to be, they don't care if the market goes up or down. Not really. They have it in their mind. The market's going to do whatever the market's going to do. They're going to put an overlay on top of the market. They're going to drop 2 options, 3 options. They're going to drop futures plus an option, stock plus a short option. They're going to do something on top of that that's going to change the odds, and it's going to make it more favorable to them. They don't have any. It's still not going to stop the market from going down 50%. These guys can't predict the future. Market's going to do what the market's going to do. Market drops 50% tomorrow. These ETFs are going to do the same thing every day. The market drops 50% tomorrow, and there's a news story that hell, it might drop another 25% the next day. Jay's still going to be in there selling those options. That's what they do. He's not going to try to get out of the way of a crash, and none of these guys are. That's not part of the deal. So if you think that these funds, you know, these guys are trying to prognosticate the future by knowing which way the market goes and getting you a high return that way, that's you're going to be disappointed. I just don't want anyone to be disappointed. So don't get in these high yield ETFs if you think the managers have any special knowledge. They don't. Okay. I mean, they don't. Just look at this as these guys are running an endowment, a fund of money that pays a dividend that you can invest in, that can maybe help you stay home from work, you know, or maybe help you take part retirement early or something. That is definitely doable. All right. If you made it this far, then maybe you are the 1 out of 20 or so that's appropriate for these high yield ETFs. I just guesstimated maybe 1 out of 10 people, but you know, my channel only has 3,000 subscribers because all I talk about is these high yield ETFs. These high yield ETFs aren't for everybody. It's a niche. Okay. But if you are one of the chosen, that's awesome. Keep watching the channel, or there's lots of other good channels. There's better channels than this one, but keep watching some channel. All right. So the next question is, how do we allocate these? So remember, my 4th rule was no more than 20%. You know, even if you need income and you qualify for the other 3 rules, no more than 20% in an otherwise 60-40 portfolio. So 60-40 portfolio is generally how a lot of money managers do it. It means 60%, sometimes 70% growth assets and stocks, and, you know, 40%, sometimes 30% income producing assets like bonds, REITs, and even covered call funds. Okay, so let's get in the retirement simulator and take it for a drive. I really like this retirement simulator. Sorry, I haven't had more content on it. I've been planning. Okay, so here we go. So let's see. Okay, so let's see this. I'm gonna show you why. Okay, here's a guy with $100,000, and he's 30, and he has a job, but he wants more income, so he's going to go ahead. He's not listening to my advice or other people's advice. He just wants to go ahead and load up on these. Okay, well, that's fine. Let's see how we do. So with the retirement simulator, it takes all these ETFs right here, and they're different kinds to the covered call ones, and it goes back a year from today. And then it also calculates the 12-month trailing dividend. So with the dividend and the starting price and the ending price, we have everything we need. We have the NAV return, the recent yield, the total return. We have everything we need. Okay, so let's go back a year ago and say if a person, this is about when my channel started, and a person watched my channel at the start, and so they did 60% stocks, 20% bonds, and then or REITs, you know, 20% normal, you know, income type investments, and then 20% in the high yield funds. Let's see how they would have done. So that's portfolio A is what I'm calling the smart way or whatever. There's no really smart way. You can do it this way if you want. I just want people to know what they're getting into. And this is more like the YOLO method. Okay. So anyway, so on the smart method, so we have 60% SPY, 20% BND, which is a bond fund. Okay. Then I chose basically the 5 or 6 highest yielding funds and put them in equal, you know, just the high flyers. It's 3% Coney, 3% NVDY, 3% Sky, 3% AMDY, 2% triple QI, and 3% IWMY. Okay. So then I gave the other guy the exact same stuff, except no SPY and no bonds. He just got 15% of all those funds where the other people got 3%. And on the one that was 10%, triple QI, we gave portfolio B, the yellow portfolio, 10%. So this guy's loaded up. He's got 100,000 in high yield. He is loaded up. He's not listening to me. And this other guy is listening to me. Okay, so here we go. Let's roll forward a year and see how they both did. So, okay, the good news is the guy with $100,000 got himself a $3,700 monthly payment. That's incredible on $100,000, and that's after freaking taxes. It's incredible, unheard of. Problem is, he started the year with the 100,000. His NAV at the end of the year is only 71,000. And that's because these aren't growth assets. These are income assets. You're trading growth for income. So this guy has more income, $3,700, compared to guy A. He only has $900 income. So yeah, more income. But look at person number A. Ends the year, in addition to making the income, his NAV goes up 13,000. The value of his account goes from 100,000 to 113,000. And he made $900 a month after taxes. It's not bad on $100,000. I mean, it's really good. You could see person investing like this is creating wealth. The person investing like this is destroying wealth. Okay, now there's a caveat. That's if this is all the money this person has in the world. Now, if this person, has a business and other investments, other places, then, let's say this guy has a business that's worth $2 million and a house that's worth $500,000 and no debts or something. Yeah, then he could easily swing this because he's not worried about that. If he burns through all this money, it's just 100,000. He's got his other normal assets that are doing this, that are appreciating. So, but I'm just making this assumption like, hey, this is all the money you have in the world and has to last the rest of your life. All right. Which is kind of how retirement happens, So, I mean, because you can't go get another job. No one's going to hire, someone my age or older. So it's really important. Well, anyway, so you can see safe and slow and steady wins the race. I'd rather be guy A all day long than guy B. Like I say, unless I also had a couple $1 million somewhere else and then go for it, guy B. All right. So let's get back into the slides. I need to get to the airport here. I appreciate you watching this. All right, let's see what else we have to talk about. I think we're just going to kind of sum stuff up. I have no idea why in the hell this is so slow today. I got some comments about to invest in a light, but I got the shades open today. But I'm telling you guys, you don't want a better view of me. All right. Okay. Let's see what else we have to talk about. Okay. So let's sum it up. No one knows shit about the future direction of the market. If you do, good for you, but I don't, and Jay doesn't. No one I know does. All right. Maybe you could say what it's going to do in the next couple of days, but I'm talking over any period of time. No one knows. Option traders use the math to change the odds and make them more favorable. That's all these ETFs do. The reason that doesn't mean you always make money or I always make money, but you can always use options to shift the law of averages and to convert future upside to current income. I just happen to know a lot about options, and I'm trying to contribute to the knowledge base online. If I'd been a bond trader, or if I was a real estate expert, I'd make a channel about bond ETFs and real estate investment trust and try to explain the ins and outs of those. But it's not like options are the only way to go. I just like to talk about them. All right. But seriously, don't use these if you don't understand how they work. Keep watching my channel. I'll coach you. I mean, we can teach you how they work, but if you don't understand that, just don't use them. And don't use if you don't need income. Accumulate money when you do really need income, when you're 50 and have a bad back, and you want to go down from, 8 hours a day to 4 hours a day. Like I say, then you can get you some income. You do it the right way. And I guess I'll add a caveat. There's no one right way. I don't know the right way. I'm just telling you the way that I like to do it. So, but I do think the retirement simulator made a pretty good case why that's kind of a better way to do it. But, it's up to you. Everyone has different circumstances. I appreciate you guys being here, and I'm sorry I haven't had much content while I'm in California, but I will be getting back in the influencer game hot and heavy next week. Have a bunch of good content plans. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you.